Red Dead Redemption 2 is currently the king of Western-style games. For good reason. It features breathtaking vistas, huge array of fauna, and NPCs to interact with. The story is personally one of my favorites ever. This was such a highly anticipated game when it was announced more than 6 years ago. It was going to be a follow-up to the beloved Red Dead Redemption 1, which is why this game had to deliver and make a big splash. What is Red Dead Redemption 2? It is a story-driven open-world action game set in 1899 in a fictionalized version of the United States. It was released back on October 28th, 2018 for consoles and on November 5th, 2019 for PC. It would also come out on November 19th for Stadia, but we all know how that turned out. The player can choose when to experience the set linear missions around the map, which is done and shot in a way like how Naughty Dog's titles are. Players can also choose to explore the world and search for treasures, or hunt wildlife or other outlaws. But at the end of the day, I believe it comes down to the story. Before I continue, based on my analytics, like 90% of you guys are not subscribed to my channel, which I get. This channel's new, and my other channel, Panicking 550, is all over the place. But you should subscribe to this channel if you're interested in hearing about new and old games. And anyways, cool plug aside, let's continue. The story setup goes like this. You play as Arthur Morgan, a longtime member of Dutch van der Linde's gang of outlaws. You are all struggling to survive and deal with the decline of the Wild West. After a botched ferry robbery, which led to innocent deaths, the gang had to leave their stolen goods behind and escape Blackwater. Ever since then, they've been strung along by Dutch to perform more robberies and ways of making money in an effort to eventually flee and hopefully retire from their criminal lives. However, players will soon find out that the law is always on the trail. As the more wrapped up the gang gets into the affairs of other powers, the law slowly surrounds them like a python, constricting and eventually suffocating their prey. Will the gang survive and escape from the Pinkertons? Will we ever go to Tahiti? Will Dutch have a plan?
I had a goddamn plan!
That's on you to play the game and find out. And it is truly worth playing for yourself. Now I want to start by talking about the gameplay. The gameplay is one of the finest and polished of Rockstar's titles. Yes, GTA 5 is known for its violence and vehicles, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is, in my opinion, known for its chonkers of a map. One that isn't just empty, but rather is filled with wildlife, people, and scattered points of interest. The game is structured, like I said before, into two main components. The first being the linear narrative missions. These are structured, and the player has little to no freedom in how they approach the situation, which is a bit unfortunate for some. It is more akin to the feeling of being in a movie and acting out from a script. While the second component is the open world, where the player can hunt, cook, forage, pillage, interact, and explore. In fact, the game's map is split up into little biomes and has towns that mimic old America. For example, Saint Denis is a representation of St. Orleans in Louisiana. Tumbleweed is a representation of Tombstone, Arizona. Annensburg is basically a representation of Pittsburgh, California. And the Big Valley region of the map is a representation of the Yosemite Valley, and many more. In addition to the vast world to explore, the player can experience one of the best simulations for a cowboy. Riding on a horse with an old repeater, or dual-wielding revolvers while gunning down your enemies. In fact, I obviously won't show it, but this game is also very brutal. We're talking about exploding bits and wounds. It also does boast a multiplayer option, Red Dead Redemption 2 Online, although that is basically dead. But really, I just enjoy riding around the map, taking in the scenery, and using the many weapons in this game. Alright, boy. Red Dead Redemption 2 is hands down one of my top games, narrative-wise. Arthur Morgan was not a character that was mentioned or was really real in Red Dead Redemption 1. But they did a good job creating this character and adding him into the story, along with the other characters that we didn't really get to know about either.
Do I get a hug, Arthur? A warm embrace for a lost brother now found.
You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me.
But Mr. Morgan is one of my favorite characters, and he has such a great journey in this game. No matter if you play more honorable or dishonorable, his character and the story grows immensely. Now, I see Morgan as someone that's more honorable, and the karma system in this game will actually change a little bit how certain cutscenes play and certain dialogues play, and ultimately how the story sort of ends. There's the same result, but the result is just presented in a different way. Rockstar not only made such a great main character, but the others in the gang are made really well. Now, some of my experiences may be a little bit different from others because I also did not get the opportunity to do all the side quests for the game members. But each of them is interesting, and the more morally good characters, we'll say, are really well done. Although I think everyone can agree that anyone that has played the game, we all hate Micah. We hate Micah with a burning passion. But no matter if you're dishonorable or doing an honorable run, you just don't like him at all. And if you do like him, you should probably see a psychiatrist. The voice acting and the emotions shown on the characters' faces, everything in these cinematic moments are amazing.
Hey, listen.
Arthur! Oh, Arthur!
You seem in a good mood.
I am, son. I am. Let's have some fun. Tonight. Let's enjoy ourselves.
We having a party?
Maybe. Just a little one.
Great.
Says you're getting pretty nigh to my diddle 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 all the day. And upon that, part well when I do say, she says, let's lay down on the grass and diddle 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 all day. And we diddle diddle did too.
And if you are someone that tends to cry or tear up, you'll definitely feel that. Throughout playing this whole game, I felt happy, I felt nostalgic, some sadness, anger, hopefulness too, and many more while I was playing throughout the game. It's one of those games where at the end of the journey, when you play it through, you really sit back, and when the credits roll or you go to the epilogue, spoiler epilogue, you really sit there like, wow, they really made something beautiful with this game. Which is also kind of unfortunate why we didn't really get any DLC or visual update or anything to the game. It was literally like they released a banger of a game, a masterpiece, I would say, so to speak, and then they just left it. They just left it like that, continuing on with GTA 5 and, making GTA 6. But hopefully this, if they continue this game, they'll be able to make something, either a brand new story or they might go further back in the timeline. But we'll see. So it is with a genuine sincerity that this is a game to play, if not for the gameplay, for the story. To be able to interact with the characters, to see them develop throughout the course of the game. If you're just someone that, if you ever felt like just watching a compilation of, let's say, the main story cutscenes, you'll miss out on the little things that bring more life into the game and its characters. If you haven't played it yet for whatever reason, go ahead and just pick it up. After all, there's so many little activities you can do in this game. This game is filled with like little activities. You can play, you can play gambling games like blackjack. You can play dominoes with Abby or Abigail. You can play Five Finger Fillet or Fillet, whatever it's called, with Lenny. And just getting to know these characters and seeing them in the game is just so fun, especially like with the theme of Red Dead 1. Everything's about redemption. But it wasn't the crew of characters in that one I also love, but there's a sense of home in Red Dead 2, and I think that's why this game is so calming. It was able to be like a little family for the character and for the player whenever they interact with these characters in the camp, which eventually makes what happens at the end much more impactful, narrative-wise. But anyways, go out there, pick up the game, and go, wrangle in some horses. Anyways, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I would be super happy if you just, do all the normal stuff. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment below what your thoughts on this video. If you've played the game before, or if you know someone that's played the game, let me know in the comments what they thought. And eventually you might be able to come back and tell me who's your favorite character. Because besides Morgan, my favorites are probably Charles or Sadie. And yeah, thanks again. Have a great day, guys. Take care. You are all struggling to survive and deal with the decline of the Wild West. And after a botched ferry delivery, the open world action game set in 1999 in a fictionalized United States. It was released on October 28th, 2018 for consoles, and on November 5th, 2019 later for PCs.